So we're working with our ledge scene here. We have our ball coming in. We have our light set up fairly nicely. Decent scene, decent lighting. We want this ball to reflect our environment. So the first thing we're going to do is select the ball and give it reflection. And whenever you add reflection, it's usually a good idea to complement it with lowering the diffuse, or it gets too hot. And shiny thing or reflective things always look better when they're shiny. So we'll leave it at that. Our environment, we're just going to go see ray tracing with spherical map. Let's see how that works. We have to remember to turn on ray trace reflections, or reflections will not show up. A quick rendering will show us we have some things going on. Let's zoom in on our ball here. We can see that our lines aren't perfectly lined up. We're going to have to do some balancing there. But zooming in on the ball, it's interesting. We can see the ledge being reflected here. We can see our back wall, but we've got this empty space here. What that empty space is although we have our front projection mapping here, and it's looking crazier and crazier as time goes by. Let's go to our perspective view. Front projection mapping on our back wall and our ground. However, we have two other surfaces. I call this one the surround. It's not even being seen by the camera. And that one's sky. So let's change a few of those. Sky, we'll make it a blue, purplish blue. Surround. Let's actually select an image for that. And we'll go to our old friend building. And we're going to do, let's do a cylindrical map. On the Y, automatic sizing. And we can see that this is kind of a ledge being surrounded by that map. A fairly common occurrence. In our camera view, we're not seeing any of that. We're not seeing the surround. We're not seeing the sky. And we can see that our map here, back to our ball image, in the reflection, see here is our building is being reflected. Our sky isn't really coming across the wall, so maybe we'll just copy the whole thing, surround. In fact, let's make it luminous. We'll copy that, paste, so that sky, the real sky, will be applied there. And let's do another rendering. Now that's a little bit too obvious if you're looking for it. A good thing to put in there would be a nice blurry image that somewhat surrounds it, but the idea is that you would have the actual object here of our 3D front projection map and it being properly reflected. So let's save this image. Go back to our camera view. We'll render an image as it's coming to the side here. It's coming right up to the edge. Move it ahead a little bit. Render another image, and in just a moment we'll take a closer look at all three of these, and we'll see if our front projection map is properly being represented. Zooming in here. You can see right here the ledge is being reflected. We're seeing more of the edge, more of the wall here, whereas here we're not seeing the edge. We're seeing the corner of it right here. In fact, it's casting a shadow onto the front projection mapped 3D geometry, which is then being reflected back into the sphere, which is pretty sophisticated. I mean, that's a lot of bouncing back and forth. That's a lot of math to do. Now, this is a scene that's included on the CD called Ledge Reflect. It's a slightly more optimized scene. I've replaced the light, the key light, with a area light to give me a softer shadow, and have rendered this out as an animation sample so you can see what happens. But you can look at these images right here. This is the sphere in the scene. Right here is the ledge as it's being reflected here. You can see as it moves off, you don't see that ledge. So it's actually, in a way, it is reacting with this 3D environment. And if you play the Ledge Reflect QuickTime movie on here, you will see that it has locked onto that image pretty well. And you can see, even in this scene, this is a pretty good composite. Somebody glancing at this, I doubt if they would pick up right away that this was a composite. And this is no fancy tricks. This is just some lighting, some texturing, straight out of Lightwave. No post-processing, and yet it's a pretty good composite.